12th of November, the Media Center of Ukraine continues working. My name is Svetlana Chiporenko, and we will talk changes expect from the armed forces of Ukraine changes. Now we have Fedir Venislavskyi, People Deputy, member of the Verkhovna Rada, Ukrainian Committee on National Security, Defense and Intelligence. So I would like to start our conversation with the announced new contracts in the armed forces of Ukraine, how they will be different from the previous contracts which exist as of now, and what are the advantages. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, on the demand from the Committee on the Security and Defense and Intelligence of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, where we constantly evaluate the constant conditions of service for the military servicemen. So this committee, Verkhovna Rada, developed new types of contracts which a person who had not served in the armed forces of Ukraine can conclude these contracts, as well as those servicemen, those military who already or for quite some time already serve in the armed forces. So the contracts envisages from 1 year to 5 years, and tomorrow there will be working meeting in the committee, and so we will have broad information from tomorrow. Now I can outline in general details, just outline this contract. It will be a certain type of contract, and so the key about this contract that after the 2 years of service, citizens of Ukraine will have the opportunity to retire from the service and retire from the drafting calls for mobilization. And these contracts will be also have a better compensation package and to avoid some inequality in the status of military servicemen who currently serve and those who will join later. We will need to study, to analyze this matter in order to ensure equality and to ensure similar, the same financial compensation, so that to avoid social inequality. So when can we expect the launching of this contract, and what legislative changes are needed? All legislative changes have been already introduced by the parliament. Now there is a vacuum. There is no vacuum in the legislature. All the laws, all the legislative framework and foundation for the Ministry of Defense to be capable to sign such contracts, they already in place. And so the Ministry of Defense, basis on its laws and bylaws, maybe basis on the order from the Cabinet of Ministers, will be able to regulate all the issues connected with legislature. So how do you estimate how much time will be needed to launch this contract from this year on from the next year? I cannot answer you to this question. I don't have this information. As I say, tomorrow there will be a working meeting at the committee with representatives from the Ministry of Defense. After tomorrow, I will be able to answer more concrete when can we expect such contracts. But considering that it does not require any global changes in the legislation, I'm sure that this could be regulated at the level of bylaws very quickly. The only one issue that we need to regulate is financial compensation and the sources of which will ensure the payments, the salary payments, the financing. This is the key matter which we will be discussing. This year we already adopted several laws called to improve financing for the defense sector, including raising salaries to the military. And in the budget for 2026, in the budget, this matter also received a lot of attention. There is money allocated, but we need to make sure that all the promises given by the state are supported, are backed up by resources. My next question is about the partial transferring the responsibility from Territorial Centers of Recruitment to Centers for Administrative Services. Again, nothing new took place. We many times discussed with you already that the Ministry of Defense and the Parliament both are interested to build a transparent structure of reserves of those liable for military service. And so we introduced the register of people liable for military service, and we plan to digitalize this register. And in a short, in a middle range middle-term perspective, we want to implement this register so that the liable for military service person doesn't have to go to the Territorial Center for Recruitment to update their data, but could do it remotely. And sometimes so up to now, this process has not been digitalized yet completely, and the person still needs to go to provide to territorial centers of recruitment in order to provide certain documents. And there were some queues, lines have been created. These centers were overcrowded, and that created many problems. And so the decision was approved, so that those bodies who will have to receive all the documents about personal data, some personal data. So this body responsible for receiving the document was a Territorial Center of Recruitment. But the service centers, they will not receive information. They will just transfer the information to the Territorial Center of Recruitment. And so the Center for Administrative Services, they will fulfill the function of an administrative transitor. It will just transit the information, but the decision will be taken as it is taken today by the Territorial Center of Recruitment for the person either to delay, to postpone its service, or to conclude to receive basically to be excluded, exempt from the service. That will be this decision will be taken by the Territorial Center of Recruitment. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced new sanctions against the enemy country, Russian Federation. What will be those sanctions? What will they include? And whether the Western partners supported this decision? I would split the answer in two. So on one hand, the president of Ukraine and the representatives of defense sector of Ukraine always designing measures against this enemy aggressor regime. And the Rada, the Council of Security and Defense, this week approved another decision blocking some assets, financial resources of the aggressor country. This matter is always relevant. As of 20th package of sanctions against the Russian Federation, which totally consolidated coalition of Western partners have to impose soon. This package, actually most painful for the Russian Federation, in particular blocking oil trade, oil and gas trade, because this is the main source of income of the Russian Federation. And according to the information we have, we can say that Russia, at the expense of the sources from sale of gas and oil products, Russia is capable to continue financing its aggressive military machine. And so we need to consolidate our efforts with our partners. The consultations are being regularly carried out at the level of diplomacy field, at the level of the president of Ukraine, at the level of diplomatic sector and foreign relations, and I hope that we will be able to consolidate our position and to impose those negative consequences for such behemoths as some oil and gas production companies in Russia. And by large, we are discussing the same topic over the past 2-3 years. That's oil and gas trade, the precious stones and precious metal trade, which also requires we need to place more limitations on this field of trade in Russia and gray fleet of Russia, because Russia, by using fleets, gray fleet under the flags of under false flags, unfortunately, quite successfully bypasses those limitations already, which had been already placed on it. And we see that, but we see that Chinese and India companies, they quite positively react to sanctions and they reduce their purchases from Russia. So I hope that the consequences for Russia will be more negative. And I would like also, using this opportunity, I would like to bring up the matter of the equal approach from inside of our country and from abroad, from the partners, because very often we demand from our partners to impose sanctions, but at the same time our body authorities approve such decisions, which from my point of view are quite strange. What I'm talking about, and I many times told to your colleagues about this, that as of 24 of July of this year, the head of the aviation Service of Ukraine transferred the right to repairs to the Arabic company, which is registered in Dubai or Sharjah, but the most in offshore zone. But the most important is that this company, by receiving a systematic information about systems used in Ukraine, at the same time is being a partner to many companies which operate in Russia, in the enemy country. And this is a strange situation. I actually submitted a request to Prime Minister of Ukraine, Ms. Sverdenko, to cancel this decision, but unfortunately this decision has not been cancelled as of today. So I think our internal state bodies should take into account the danger, the risks, and should approve better decisions. Plus, this company, LLA, was recognized as not safe, as a risky company for the United States of America, while this company, we hire this company to service our helicopters. So I call on the Air Service of Ukraine to review the situation, because our statesmen, they have been they're behind bars on the suspicion of criminal offense, and now Air Service of Ukraine has made this very stupid decision, but unfortunately there is no reaction to such decision. Long-range weapon for Ukraine from our partners. Are there any news of progress in this matter? Last month, over 1 month, we discussed Tomahawk issues matter, and I was very careful on answering the question whether we should expect Tomahawks soon. The supply of long-range weapons and which are very negatively perceived by Russians. They start sending political signals, threatening some nuclear scare, and these matters are quite sensitive. So we should probably talk about the long-range weapon when we receive it and when we are able to use it. There are negotiations in these regards. The negotiations. The progress is not easy, but nonetheless, from the Great Britain, from United States, from partners, I am sure that we will be receiving more effective weaponry. Thank you, Mr. Fedir, and I will remind you that we will discuss changes in the armed forces of Ukraine, and Media Center will continue our work tomorrow. Please keep with us. Thank you.